How's it going, everyone? Welcome back to the channel, and in today's video we are going to be hopefully taking the SCIROCCO with the R32 engine all-wheel drive system for its first drive. So sit back, relax, grab a drink, do whatever you need to do. Subscribe if you haven't already. The channel is growing and I can't thank you guys enough. But anyway, enough of me, I'm gonna shut up. Let's crack on with today's video. Let's go.
Yeah, came through flexing cause they know I got the sauce. Got the presence on me, I can't ever take it off. That's why I came country boy stepping, yeah, I'm country boy stepping. Country boy stepping, yeah, I'm country boy stepping. Yeah, they can't get like me, rockin' boots and white tee. Designer on my cuff link, something like a mobile. Country boy stepping, yeah, I'm country boy stepping. Country boy stepping, yeah, I'm country boy stepping. It's not the ranch, I just told you that I'm about it. I might take offense if you tell me that you doubt it. That's just what it is, yeah, I'm known to make. Okay, a lot of people worry about wiring, and I'm going to start as we mean to go on. You just saw me take that loom from out of the Golf, which we've got here, and this is why it's always best to have a donor car, because you can just keep going back and forth to get what you need, and also it helps you with sort of seeing where goes what goes where, basically. So we've got the R32 ECU here, and then we've got the SCIROCCO ECU there. Now, as I said, these plugs, so this is the engine plug, which we don't need to touch, so this is for the engine loom, which would be there on the SCIROCCO. We need to change that plug out for the R32 one. The way we're going to tackle it is a bit like this. So I think we're going to keep the E-box, which belongs to the SCIROCCO. We've got a few wires here we're going to check, but let me just talk you through this part. This is the 94 or 91 pin plug. I think it's the 94, but anyway. And all these wires, it just looks so daunting, so crazy. But let's just break it down into sections, because I think that's going to be easier to understand. Your big wires, we can separate and we can look into them. So we've got two browns, which are obviously an earth point, which just bolt to the chassis. So that's that done. We've then got a thick red with a green trace wire. Again, if we follow that all the way back, it goes to this pin here, which goes into the E-box plug, which is pin 22. We can basically break everything down. Okay, I've labeled everything as I've taken it off the Golf, so we can cross-reference it with the E-box in the SCIROCCO. And yeah, so we can start breaking it down. So all these wires, so let's just have a quick look here. So these three plugs, two are for the oxygen sensors at the front, and then the other one is for the mass airflow. So if we look at that, that's them plugs sorted. We don't need to worry about those wires. And then if we look at the other wires here, these are for the rear oxygen sensors. So there's another group of plugs and another group of wires we don't need to worry about. So we can push that out of the way. Then when we come down to this part of the loom, we can then start to break it down. These came from the vehicle itself. So these go into the wiring loom into the car. Now if you can look here, we've got the two twisted wires that are twisted together. Sorry, we've got an orange and black and an orange and brown. Those two are the canvas high and low. So we know we've got them on the SCIROCCO, so we know what they are. So long and short of it, we need the wiring diagram to figure out these. But don't worry about them at the moment, because some of them we may not need. This group of plugs all go to plug 1, or the big E plug in the E-box. So again, we can work on them. They're one group of wires. Working our way down, we've got some twisted wires here, which is twisted for a reason. And this goes to the temp sensor, which goes in the bottom hose here. Now I have plugged in the SCIROCCO one. Don't really need the SCIROCCO one. We can get rid of it, because we know the Golf one goes to the correct pin
in the ECU plug. So we will use this plug instead of the SCIROCCO one. So again, I'm not going to worry about that one. So again, as you can see now, we're dwindling the loom down to a few wires and a few plugs. Let's go with this one, the fan motor plug. The fan motor plug, again, we've got a big earth and we've got a big red wire which goes to the E-box. So those two ain't a problem. These two here, we've got a blue with a red trace and we've got a yellow with a purple trace. Now, when we have a look at the SCIROCCO fan plug, guess what we've got? A big earth, a big red wire, however that's red and with a white trace, and then if we follow that up to the E-box, that's where that goes. Okay, so we don't need to worry about the earth, we don't need to worry about the live. The other two we need to worry about are the two thin wires. We've got a blue with a red trace, and guess what? We've got a yellow with a purple trace. Those two go up. I'll show you on this loom. Those two leave that plug. The blue with the red trace goes into a spliced wire. The blue with the red trace goes to pin number 11 in the E-box. So that goes to the E-box. Then we can check the yellow with a purple trace goes all the way back to the engine ECU. Reality of it is, we can use that and probably end up using this plug instead of the SCIROCCO one. Now, the blue with the red trace is spliced, and then the other part of the blue with the red trace goes into the 14-pin plug. Now, if you look, we've got some numbers here. So the blue with the red trace goes to pin 6. If we go to the 14-pin plug in the SCIROCCO, which would be, this is the same plug as the plug I've got in my hand on the floor. Pin 6 is blue with a red trace. So I know once we plug this in, so if we look at pin 6 on here, which is there, pin 6, blue with a red. So that's the fan switch. So we know what we've got to do. Now ideally this 14-pin plug, we have got to swap some stuff around, because if you look at this one, if we put them side by side, the SCIROCCO one, which is the one on top, has less pins in the actual plug. The Golf one has more. So ideally, we need to know where things go. So we've got 7 wires out the chassis here. We've got 9 wires out of this one. So just quickly, out of the 14-pin plug from the chassis, you can see pin 8 and pin 10 is populated. So pin 10, pin 8. If we look on the this is the one out of the Golf, okay, but if we look at the one out of the SCIROCCO, pin 8, pin 10 are not populated. So kind of what I'm saying is we will probably end up using the Golf 14-pin plug in place of the SCIROCCO one, but we need to double check and make sure that there's nothing in that 14-pin plug that we may need. So that's kind of that one done. The next one is the other E-box plug, which is the smaller one out of the two. We need to have a look at that. We may need to de-pin all of that. So there's 2, 4, 6, 8 wires. De-pin that and pin them into the plug. So we need to have a look at that. But kind of what I'm trying to say, and I know it's a bit long-winded, when we break the loom down into sections, we're able to work out where things go and what we're going to do. Kind of what I'm trying to say is it's just a case of taking your time, break down the loom into sections and knock off each section at a time, and you'll soon get to the end result. That's what I'm going to do now. I'm going to get it plugged into the engine ECU of the R32, and we're going to start checking wires. So I'm going to put you on a time lapse, guys. So I'm sorry this was a long explanation, but I said we'd do a wiring video separate to help you guys if you were going to do anything like this, how to do it. So yeah, let's crack on. Okay, grab yourself a cup of tea, cup of coffee, whatever your beverage is. We're going to go into full explanation mode, and I'm going to try and make it as simple as possible for you guys. I've got to give massive shout out to the humble mechanic. When I was back at the VW dealership, I remember them just starting to launch the Irwin platform and so on and so forth, and they was talking about it, but I didn't realise how useful Irwin, the actual VW platform, was. Find Irwin on Google. It would be like volkswagen.irwin.com, something like that. You can make yourself an account, create your account, and you can start to use Irwin. Now, the thing is, you kind of get a taste of what's going on, but you've got to pay for stuff. So what you'll do, so you go into products and services, Irwin product assistant, and then you'll have 4 options come up on the left hand side. Hopefully you can see that. Vehicle repair, vehicle diagnostics, training and further professional development, further information, applications, forms and certifications. So it gives you straight away some things you can click on. We're going to click on vehicle repair, and we're going to look at what we want. So we can start a product comparison. So if we look on there, we can pay, and what we get for the repair and maintenance information flat rate, we get all this information on said vehicle. We go purchase flat rate, and we can have an hour subscription, a day, 7 days, 30 days, 365 days. Now, I'm just buying the day because I just need the day to download the information. So it's 36 euros excluding VAT, and that will also give me printing rights. So we've created an account, we've gone into Irwin, we've paid for the subscription, and I just want to make this adamantly clear. You can spend time and time searching the internet for free information, and that's all good. If it's going to make our life easier, great. In this particular build, 36 euros for 2 full wiring diagrams for the SCIROCCO and the Golf. Now, and that's just the wiring diagrams. I could download a lot more information. I could spend the day downloading every other vehicle. I could do Polos, Caddies, you name it, Terrans, you name it. I could spend a day downloading all that information. So 36 euros, I think is pretty fair. So I've already gone ahead and downloaded the SCIROCCO wiring diagram, and I've downloaded the R32 wiring diagram. Over here, once you've downloaded it and it comes up on your screen, by the way, don't use Google Chrome because it will struggle to do stuff. I'm using Microsoft Edge as the browser. The Golf, let's just have a quick look at the Golf. So once you've downloaded it onto your PC, you can then go and open it up. We can go over to this context here. We can scroll down, and what we're looking for is our Golf, which is the R32, which is engine number BUB. So we can keep going down. 3.2, that one. So that is a page, I think it's 116 out of, sorry, it is page 1210 out of 2766. So we are now working fuse location, electronics box, so on and so forth, with the Golf R32. On the Golf, it looks like we have a T121 pin, which is the big one, and then the other one must be the T94. But anyway, so pin 1, which is there, pin 2 is both brown. Both of them go to earth. We know that because we've got it. We know the earth. So we pin 1, pin 2, pretty straightforward. Pin 3 is red and green. So red is symboled with RO and green is obviously GN. So red and green, pin 3. So that goes to D. So we need to follow where that goes. Now I know what you're thinking. All of this looks an absolute nightmare and a mess. I'm going to show you what I've been doing. There's been a couple of different methods I've been doing, and there's been a few different things that you need to do. It's not just one way works. You've got to kind of adapt to the wiring surrounding and what you've got to do. And I'm using a array of techniques, from everything from using a multimeter for testing continuity to making sure the wires are all right and belling back in the same area. I'm still using the SCIROCCO fuse board so far. So what I've been doing, I've been having to splice, like I said, the plug for the R32 into the SCIROCCO loom. Now we are using a type of factory approved technique, and there's lots of controversy online whether you should solder versus crimping versus tying them together, whatever. I've done this way before and I've never had any issues, no issues with continuity. Not saying that's not going to be the case here. I don't know. I'm pretty confident it will be all okay. However, we are using a type of heat shrink which has a little bit of solder in the middle, and what we do, we push the two ends in together, we put that on, we heat it up, it heat shrinks it shut so you can see the white little tabs there like seals. If it focuses, come on, focus. They're like seals which stops the water from coming in, and then you've got the solder in the middle which goes into the two wires. Now, like I said, I've done this way. You guys can do it whatever way you want. This work and has worked for me in the past, so this is the method I'm sticking with. We're not going to button all this up until we get the car running and starting and we see what issues we have, but we will go over that. So we have finally completed the ECU from the R32 wiring into the SCIROCCO loom. Now, I've not tidied it up because we've still may have to do some bits and pieces, but the long and short of it is using Erwin online has been a massive help. And the only thing I can really say, guys, is just take your time. I did have one wire not wired up, and it was essentially one of the main wiring components. It was the black and grey wire, which basically opens or works the main relay, which then works the engine ECU. So I wasn't getting 12 volts at the ECU, and that was because the main relay wasn't turning on, which in turn then wasn't activating the ECU. I was able to go in using my Autel and clear everything. Now in the ECU there was just one fault code. As you can see, we've got a couple of fault codes here in the brakes, central electronics, instrument cluster, immobilizer, power steering and comfort. The comfort system is the alarm horn. The power steering is the angle sensor. Obviously we need to drive it, that should go and calibrate, or it will need calibrating. The immobilizer is exactly what it is. Let me switch on the ignition, and as you can hear, hopefully you can hear the throttle body powering up. So everything's clicking, so everything's working as it should. So as you can see, engine control module immobilizer data not adapted. So it's basically saying it's got the wrong immobilizer, so it won't start, which is fine. We know that. Steering angle sensor, again, once we drive it, that should sort that out. Obviously, we will have to code in the ABS unit, but yeah, what was the other one I was going to show you? Fuel. The instrument cluster is obviously having a moment because it can't see the fuel level sensor open circuit because it's unplugged, because we haven't wired in the R32 fuel pump plug and the Haldex stuff. So that's going to have a bit of a moment, which we're going to do now. So again, we've got stuff like fuel pump relay, high beam, low beam. Again, we've got the headlights out, so it is what it is. But yeah, so basically we have fundamentally the engine side of things wired up. We've still got bits of the wiring loom to sort out, like obviously I've got all this to sort out from the SCIROCCO. Majority of this stuff is stuff like the O2 sensor, the coolant temperature sensor and so on and so forth, but we're not going to get rid of all that just at the moment. We're going to run the vehicle up and then we're going to see exactly what we need and what we don't need, and again we can then tidy all this up, so on and so forth. Next step, now we've done what I class as the big job, next step is the fuel pump and the Haldex system. So first things first, I can't thank the developer who deleted the immobilizer in the ECU for me enough. I sent it off on the Thursday, he got it the Friday, he did the job on the Friday and sent it back out on the Friday. I received it on the Saturday. Absolute great guy. Highly recommend dealing with him. He's only in Crewe in Staffordshire, so it's not like he's a million miles away. Wiring jumps. So first things first, I've had to make my own fuel pump relay. There's a lot of people out there who say you can't use that, you've got to use the R32. I'm just going to say you could probably use both. The reason why I've chose to use the use the SCIROCCO fuse box is this: anything in these fuses and relays are all to do with the SCIROCCO. Okay, the additional ones which I've added here with jumper fuses, okay, is R32 custom, right? So for example, the 10 amp fuse there is for the SCIROCCO, the 10 amp fuse there is for the R32 custom loom. Okay, so if I've got a problem and it's popping that fuse and not this fuse, I know that's to do with the custom loom that I've done. The SCIROCCO side of things is a-okay. Okay, so some people like them, some people don't. It works for me. I've used them for years. I've had no issues with them, and they are very much, if I want to take that out and remove it, I can. If I want to rewire it, I can. These fuse boxes only have one plug, whereas the R32 has two. Sorry, there's more in the R32 fuse box than there is in the SCIROCCO, because obviously 3 years since they made the Golf compared to the SCIROCCO, they basically went from, let's say, dial-up to broadband. So they lessened everything and made things work better. What you see here is not going to be left. This is purely test procedure to make sure it works. Now I know it works, I can reroute this wiring, give it its own terminals and tidy the wiring up. Coming down to this plug here, now I know I've utilised all the wires that I need. I can cut that off, that is from the R32. So on and so forth. So like for example, the T14 SCIROCCO plug is there. I don't need that anymore, but I will keep it there just in case. I'm using the R32 and the R32 male and female ends. So I've done that. Bit of rewiring, bit of plugging in, whatever, I've done it, it works. That's the wiring aspect regarding the swap at the front. What's left to do? We have to wire up the fuel senders in both sides of the tanks and the Haldex system. The front radiator in, we've got the coolant in. In fact, I'm probably in a good position to run this up to temperature, see if the fans kick in, which I think is going to be my next job before I start building and getting rid of all this. So I'm going to run this up to temperature, bleed the system, and hopefully we can get the fans cutting in. Okay, let's give it a whirl. Get in! Yes! Let's go. Okay, guys, listen to how smooth that is. Oh my days. Yes, let's go. V6 SCIROCCO 3.2. Yes! Awesome. Let's go. Just a quick update. Stayed late last night and just tried to get somewhat everything, little bits and pieces buttoned up. We've got the air filter in now, the air box, that's all mounted. We've got the ECU in situ where we need it to be. We've tidied up the wires. I've potentially still got to do a little bit of something here, which is why I've left the headlights out. We're running it up to temperature to make sure the fan's kicking. Started up first crack this morning, so I'm super pleased with it. I have ordered an oil filter and oil. I've put an engine flush in it, so we're going to do a service on the engine now. Now we've got it running, like I said, we'll get up to temperature. The next job will be, before we can actually drive this, is to get the Haldex system wiring in the back. That's my job for today. Get the fuel level senders all wired in as well. The fuel pump side of things are done. It's just literally sorting out the senders and the Haldex system. That's my job for today. Then potentially we can see if we can get it rolling and driving under its own accord. We've still got to do some coding. I have got the VCDS system. I might have a little bash at that, see if I can do it myself. You don't know till you try. So yeah, it's running. We're getting it up to temperature and check that the fan's kicking.
Let's go. We ain't slowing down, baby, come and show me how. Gotta do it right now, you know you gotta hold me down. Can I let the moment pass? Good things, they never last. Pull up in a whip, you know I had to hit the gas. Yeah, that's premium, pull up with a team and them. Ain't worried about the other side, they know that they ain't beating them on everything I love. Work to the man above, keep it cool, calm, collected. At this point you get the message. Life is hectic, but we gotta keep it rolling, though. Gotta keep it grooving, keep it moving like we stole it, though. Rolling with the punches, giving hits like we are in a scope. Even though
So the car's off the ramp for the first time with the VR6 lump in it, or with the R32. I mean, it's either going to work or I'm going to break it. Let's find out. I haven't even tried the clutch yet, but we'll give it a go. I think the brakes will probably need bleeding. Yeah, boy. Oh yeah, this is going to be absolutely epic. The clutch feels absolutely amazing. That's how a SCIROCCO should sound. Yeah, boy. So that is the first test drive off the ramp forward, which was kind of scary because it's the first time this is driven under its own power. Remember, I did buy the car with a damaged engine, so daunting. And obviously, since we've done the work, pulling it forward, just moving the car just absolutely sinks in that we have converted and done this from scratch, built what I believe VW should have done, in my opinion, an R32 SCIROCCO. I know they did the R, but it was never four-wheel drive. This is a different animal. So just a real quick update. We have wired everything in. We've got everything working to a degree. I do have an issue on the ABS control unit, and the problem with that is because I didn't have this car driving previously, I don't know if the fault was already there, but it's saying we've got a problem with the longitude sensor, which potentially could mean we need to replace the ABS control unit. So I'm going to dig into that, but in the short term, I'm going to be putting this back together, so at least we can try and give it a good shakedown, a bit of a drive. So none of the interior is back together, as you can see. But again, I want to give it a shakedown and see what issues we find, because this is all research and development, if you like. You know, there's a few people that have done this swap. So yeah, we'll see what issues we get. Okay, let's Let's take her for a little drive around the block. Okay, let's go and take it for a first drive. It's going to be quite a few rattles, obviously, because we've got none of the interior back together. So yeah, I can't believe it's driving. Well, I can believe it, but you kind of know what I mean. It's like to envision the car with the R32 engine and the four-wheel drive. Wow, she sounds amazing. I cannot believe we have done this. Well, I can believe it, but you get what I'm saying. It's sort of like, wow, just sounds unbelievable. Indicator by the looks of it. Just awesome, absolutely awesome. Tracking's out, but again, I never drove this car because this car came to me as a non-runner, so she sounds sweet. Let's not get too excited. Keep within the speed limit.
Came through flexing cause they know I got the sauce. Got the presence on me, I can't ever take it off. That's why I came country boy stepping, yeah, I'm country boy stepping. Country boy stepping, yeah, I'm country boy stepping.
So with anticipation that we may get this vehicle up and running, and now we've got the four-wheel drive working and it is driving, can we actually call it an R32? Can we actually stick on an R32 badge and name it a SCIROCCO R32? I think we can. And you know what? I'm going to do it. I'm going to stick the badge on and we're going to call this the R32.
I gotta hit that body. I'm the top for the top. I can't never take a break. Yeah, I'm hot and you not. That's why all my records bang. Oh, it's been a long, long road.
So there you have it, guys. We have fitted an R32 with all four wheels moving, all-wheel drive, full motion, all working. We have done it. I am so pleased with the end result, and it's not even the end result yet because we've got still more to do on this. The fact that it moves and drives, and it drives so well, and it sounds absolutely amazing. I'm just so pleased. And I know a few of you have reached out and asked me about doing a conversion for you guys. There is something on the cards that we can potentially do, so stay tuned for that. But that thing right there, it sounds epic, and it's like you don't even want to go fast because it just sounds so sweet. But anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this video, guys. If you have and you've enjoyed it, please subscribe. Your subscription means absolute world to me, and we are growing this channel at a phenomenal rate, and I'm so grateful for all your support. We have got some amazing things lined up. We've got loads to do on that. I've got other videos lined up with other vehicles ready for you guys. So if you want to see all that, make sure you subscribe, hit that notification bell, and leave me a comment in the comment box below. But for now, guys, I hope you're all well. Have a fantastic week. Take care, and I'll see you guys on the next one.